Book review, Dissolution by Nicholas Binge. Genre, techno-thriller science fiction psychological drama. Publisher, Riverhead Books 2024. Length, 336 pages. Reality is story we tell ourselves, until someone rewrites it. With Dissolution, Nicholas Binge, best-selling author of Ascension, delivers an ambitious, deeply moving, and fiercely intelligent novel that defies easy classification. Part speculative thriller, emotional drama, and part metaphysical inquiry, Dissolution asks searing questions about the nature of memory, identity, and truth in an age of accelerating technological disruption. It is also, at its heart, the poignant story of a woman fighting to reclaim the men she loves, before he disappears not only from her life but from history itself. Plot summary. In Dissolution, Nicholas Binge crafts layered techno-thriller that fuses memory, time, and reality into heart-wrenching and suspenseful narrative. At the center is Maggie Webb, woman who has sacrificed the last 10 years of her life to care for her husband, Stanley, as he seemingly succumbs to dementia. Their once vibrant life together has eroded under the weight of Stanley's memory loss. What remains for Maggie is a shell of the man she loved and the haunting sense isolation that comes with watching someone disappear slowly. The novel opens in the quiet monotony of Maggie's daily routine. Her emotional world is inward and subdued, until a stranger named Hassan arrives uninvited at her doorstep. Hassan presents a radical idea. Stanley's memory loss isn't a natural condition, it's man-made. Someone is deliberately erasing Stanley's memories, and if Maggie is willing to trust him, he offers a way to reverse it. Skeptical but desperate, Maggie agrees to participate in an experimental procedure, one that allows her to enter Stanley's mind. The technology is sophisticated, bordering on science fiction, and described with just enough detail to seem plausible. Maggie is hooked into a memory interface device that lets her walk through Stanley's memories as if they were real environments. Her mission, to search for the buried truth and piece together what someone is trying to hide. First, the memories she visits are warm and familiar. Echoes of early love, shared laughter, and a life they built together. But inconsistencies soon appear. People behave oddly, landscapes glitch, moments loop or vanish. Maggie begins to realize that these aren't just memories. They are constructs, being manipulated in real time. As Maggie navigates Stanley's memoir escape, she uncovers fragments of life she never knew. Secret trip to the Middle East, cryptic messages hidden in books, and confrontation with a man who seems eerily similar to Hassan. It becomes clear that Stanley was involved in covert scientific project, one centered on the nature of memory, time, and reality itself. His research may have led to discovery with world-changing implications and potentially catastrophic consequences. Each visit to Stanley's past grows more disorienting. Maggie begins to question not only what is real in Stanley's mind, but what is real in her own life. Reality begins to warp outside the machine. Objects disappear. People forget things they once knew. Entire places seem subtly changed. It's not just Stanley's memory being altered. It's the fabric of the universe that is unraveling. Hassan insists they must continue. He claims to be part of a resistance working to protect knowledge that powerful forces want buried. But Maggie's trust begins to fray. Hassan is evasive, his story inconsistent. Who is he really? And what does he want with Stanley's mind? The truth begins to crystallize. Decades ago, Stanley discovered technique to extract, manipulate, and potentially delete memories. Not only from individuals, but from the collective human consciousness. The implications were terrifying when he realized what his work might be used for. Mass censorship, historical erasure, control of perception. He walked away, hiding his research in mental labyrinth, protected by psychological locks and emotional truth. But now someone wants that knowledge, and they are willing to dismantle reality itself to get it. As Maggie races through collapsing memories and shifting worlds, she must confront painful truths about Stanley and their marriage. Was he hiding secrets even from her? Did he regret the choices he made? And can she forgive the parts of his past that don't align with the man she thought she knew? The final act of the novel takes a metascientific turn. Maggie realizes the memory interface is not just a simulation. It is part of the very architecture of reality. Memory, perception, and time are interconnected, and her journey through Stanley's mind has begun to influence the timeline itself. Her presence inside his memory has started to create paradoxes and feedback loops that threaten to collapse continuity. If she stays too long, she may return. But leaving means losing Stanley forever. The technology can only be used once more, either to restore him or to seal away the dangerous knowledge permanently. Maggie faces brutal choice: save the man she loves or save the world from future where truth can be rewritten at will. In climax that is both emotionally wrenching and philosophically provocative, Maggie uses her final moments in Stanley's mind to encode message. not just for herself, but for humanity. She plants seed of resistance against forgetfulness, mental safeguarding, authoritarian manipulation, and then she lets go. The novel ends on a bittersweet note. Stanley is gone. Peacefully, his mind finally at rest. The world, subtly but palpably, is different. Maggie returns to her lonely home, no longer haunted by the past, but newly aware of her role as guardian of truth. Hassan disappears, leaving only hints of broader network of memory activists operating behind the scenes. Dissolution is ultimately a story about love, memory, loss, and the cost of knowledge. It's about we choose to remember and what we wish we could forget. Through Maggie's journey, Nicholas Binge explores urgent questions about technological power, historical truth, and the fragile nature of reality itself. With prose that is both tense and tender, the novel invites readers to ask, if memories can be erased, what makes us who we are? And if reality is shaped by memory, who gets to write history? Themes and concepts. Binge's storytelling operates on multiple levels, blending big philosophical ideas with intimate emotional depth. The novel's central conceit. Memory is both the anchor of identity and the gateway to altering reality. Is explored in intricate, often chilling ways. 1. Memory and identity. At the heart of Dissolution lies the question, who are we, if not our memories? Maddie's journey through Stanley's mind becomes metaphor for how relationships, selfhood, and history itself are shaped by memory. Binge doesn't treat memory as mere recollection, but as an active, fragile architecture susceptible to decay, manipulation, and weaponization. This conceptual terrain is reminiscent of literary works like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro, yet Dissolution brings its own flavor, urgency, dread, and insight. 2. Love in the shadow of loss. Maggie and Stanley's relationship is portrayed with aching tenderness and realism. Binge captures the quiet devastation of watching loved one disappear before your eyes. Not through death, but through the slow erosion of memory. The emotional resonance is powerful, especially as Maggie must choose between preserving the man she loved and confronting truths that might change how she sees him. This tension fuels much of the novel's heartbreak. Heroism. 3. Technology and the nature of reality. Dissolution enters speculative fiction territory through its exploration of memory technology. Machine that allows someone to enter another's memories. But Binge doesn't stop there. He uses this premise to explore the very structure of reality, drawing on ideas from quantum mechanics, neuroscience, and temporal theory. As Maggie journeys deeper into Stanley's memoirscape, it becomes evident that reality itself is fracturing, suggesting that memory and time are more deeply intertwined than we realize. There's clear philosophical underpinning here. If our collective memory determines our collective truth, what happens when that memory can be selectively edited or erased altogether? The implications are as terrifying as they are timely. Narrative structure and style. The novel's narrative is nonlinear, mirroring the disorientation of memory itself. Chapters shift between present-day Maggie and the reconstructed memories of Stanley's past, often blending time periods and emotional states. Binge handles this complexity with admirable clarity, using transitions that feel natural even as they challenge the reader's sense of time and space. The writing is elegant and controlled, balancing scientific exposition with poetic introspection. Descriptions of memoirscapes are lush yet uncanny. Familiar settings laced with glitches and inconsistencies like dreams that wobble on the edge of coherence. Dialogues are sharp, especially between Maggie and Hassan, whose philosophical debates add intellectual depth to the fast-paced plot. At the same time, Binge never loses sight of the human story. Even as the plot spirals into speculative territory, the emotional core remains grounded in Maggie's grief, love, doubt, and determination. Her voice carries the novel, and her evolution from passive caretaker to active truth seeker is compelling and authentic. Characterization. Maggie Webb. Maggie is one of the most resonant protagonists in recent techno-thrillers. Her arc is not just about solving mystery, but reclaiming agency. Binge paints her with nuance. She is not genius, scientist, or spy, but an ordinary woman thrust into extraordinary circumstances. Her resilience, compassion, and quiet fury make her journey deeply affecting. In many ways, she serves as the emotional conscience of the novel. Stanley Webb. Stanley is seen mostly through fragments, memories, glimpses, and reconstructions, and yet he emerges as a complex figure, brilliant, conflicted, and burdened by choices made decades ago. The novel smartly resists turning him into either tragic victim or mad scientist. Instead, he is portrayed as a man who stumbled onto dangerous knowledge and tried to bury it to protect the future, even at the cost of his own mind. Hassan, the enigmatic Hassan, is the novel's most ambiguous character. Is he savior or saboteur, rebel or manipulator? His motivations are slowly revealed through twists and reversals, and by the end, readers may still not be entirely sure of his moral alignment, which is precisely the point. Hassan represents the gray zone between idealism and control, between resisting manipulation and exploiting it for the greater good. With pacing and tension, Binge masterfully ratchets tension throughout the novel. Each layer of discovery within Stanley's mind brings fresh stakes and complications. The story is at once puzzle, race against time, and philosophical labyrinth, with the pressure mounting as Maggie's mental intrusions begin to cause ripple effects in the real world. The second half of the novel escalates rapidly, shifting from personal stakes to global ones, and eventually to ontological stakes. What starts a story about saving husband becomes a story about saving reality itself. Yet the transitions feel earned and organic, thanks to Binge's careful groundwork. Comparative works. Readers who enjoyed Blake Crouch's Recursion, Ted Chiang's Story of Your Life, or even Christopher Nolan's Inception will find kindred spirit in Dissolution. Like those works, Binge combines high-concept science with humanistic storytelling. Yet Dissolution avoids becoming derivative by focusing on more intimate, grounded protagonists and by infusing the plot with ethical and emotional complexity. It's also spiritual success. Ascension, Binge's earlier novel, in its ambition to explore cosmic scale ideas through deeply human stories. But where Ascension dealt more with cosmic horror and existential awe, Dissolution is tighter, more intimate, and more tragic. Criticisms. If there's any criticism to be made, it might lie in the complexity of the novel's final act. The metaphysical climax involves collapsing realities, paradoxes, and abstract memory constructs, which can be disorienting. Some readers may find the concepts heavy or even opaque in places. However, this density feels intentional. The disorientation mirrors Maggie's experience and reinforces the novel's central ideas. Additionally, readers, for conventional resolutions, may find the ending ambiguous, but in a novel about memory's unreliability and the malleability of truth, neatly tied up ending would have felt dishonest. Inclusion. Dissolution is rare achievement. Thriller that thrills intellectually and emotionally. It is gripping and cerebral, tender and terrifying, poetic and provocative. Nicholas Binge explores what it means to remember to love and to choose truth in a world where even reality can be rewritten, with rich characters, jaw-dropping revelations, and profound philosophical core. Dissolution is not just one of the best books of the year. It's one that will linger in memory long after the final page. In time when facts are fragile, histories are rewritten, and memory itself is contested terrain, Dissolution offers powerful warning and quiet hope as Maggie Webb learns the past is not just a place we visit, it is battlefield, and sometimes the fight for the future begins inside single human mind. Final verdict. 5/5. Recommended for fans of speculative thrillers, readers of Blake Crouch and Ted Chiang. Anyone who enjoys emotional, intelligent fiction that challenges perception and celebrates resilience.